Welcome to another exciting video in the Artful Coder series. Today we're going to cover arrays and lists within object-oriented programming. So previously we were building a little application up that covers things like statics, inheritance, exception, and that as well. So I'm going to cover both methods because effectively they're quite a bit to get your head around. So what you have to do is create an array of objects. You just say what type it is, give it the, so this is the array modifier. So it's flats equals new flats, and we're going to get an array of 5. There you go. So what we're also going to do is create a list of type flats. I want to call it flats 2. So there are quite a few differences between arrays and lists or collections. So an array you have to predefine, and you can do clever stuff to redim it. So redimming it means you reinitialize it when you add a value. So the maximum amount of flats we can have here is 5. So, and a list, you can just keep adding to it quite simply. So for example, what we could do with a list is say we take flat 1 and 2. So flats 2 dot add. There you go. So that's now added to a collection. And again, we can say flats 2 flats 2 dot add flat 2. We don't need to declare that as a flat because we've got flats. So flat 2. And we're just going to do that. There you go. So then what we can very cleverly do is we can then write a for each statement to loop through it. So for each, different ways you can do this. So for each, there you go. So flat in flats. Again, you can use a for each loop through them. Let's say flats 2. And all we're going to do is say f dot open door. We're just going to do open door. That's one way of doing it. Another way is to loop through an array in the old for way. So for I equals 0. Well, I is less than, because we indexes in C# as well as Java and other languages start at 0. So if you were to say less than equal to flats dot length, you would get an exception, an array overflow exception. So we want to look at initializing our flats. So it's going to be very simple. What we're going to do, we've got the 2 flats up there, it's just going to add the flats, and we'll loop through and open each door. So let's have a look at this in action and see what this does. There you go. It's just gone through each of the flats. There you go. So it's just looped through, we're outputting there, job done. So the next thing we need to do is we need to initialize the flats, then we're going to combine and do different things. So all I'm going to say is, we've got nothing in here at the moment. So we want to say flats I equals new flat. And what we're going to say here is name, let's say number of windows equals I. There you go. So that's how you could initialize an array of using a standard array of objects. The list looks a lot better because you just go add as a nice function, but we're just going to create a number of windows as that. And then what we can do then, you see, is take this, do for each, go down to here, flats in flat 2, again we can reuse the same variables. And you don't even need curly braces, you can just do that in flats. Okay, so flats. So if we just do that, what do we get? There you go. So you can see there that what we've done is we've initialized them. So this is what you do with creating flats. That if we didn't do this step, then effectively, let's see what happens. So if we just comment that out, so we're not initializing them, do we get an error? You should in theory get an error. So look. Yeah, because we haven't initialized our thing up here. So this is where in some ways a list is better, because even if you loop over a list without adding any, so let's just put this back in. Even if you loop over, if we don't add any flats, it just won't do anything because there's nothing in there. With a normal array, you have to pre-populate elements within that array. And the simplest way I've done this is just set number of windows equals that. So that's a very easy way to do that. And I think it's a good way. So we've covered arrays. So I may have mentioned what a variable is before. We'll just quickly look at that. So a variable stores information effectively. That's what we're doing here. We're using a property which is a shorthand getter and setter variable combined to set the number of windows equals I. So I'd be 0 to 5. So on flat 0 rather, it's 0. Flat 1, it's 1. And then we're using a for each just to loop through and call a command to open the door. So again, this is a very simple way of the differences between lists and common standard arrays. There is caveats for both. In preference, you should try using lists wherever because certain things are handled a lot better. With flats, yes, you could redim it. You could do it very clever about write yourself a function that would add one to it, that would redim the array, and which we can do. We can write a function that would do that. But this is all dealt with out of the box. It just does it for you sort of thing. So it's up to you what you decide on that. But in a nutshell, that is arrays with lists. I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you for watching.